y'all, what's up? It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And we are here to let you know to tune into Old Face Wrestling because they're one of the best podcasts out. And we follow them, so you should too. So subscribe, hit that button, and listen for the latest in wrestling news. Later.
Hey, this is Sofia Lopez from Women of Wrestling, and you are watching Old Face Wrestling.
That's right. Oh, Face Wrestling. Listen to the podcast. Listen. They are Dark Side approved. Outlet approves it. Oh, Face Wrestling. I'll be listening. Will you?
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I am joined by Robyn Reid, aka the Disciplinarian from Women of Wrestling. So thank you for joining us today, Robyn. So Robyn,
thank you for having me.
No problem at all, Robyn. So we got a few questions for you. So I know on Women of Wrestling you play the character the Disciplinarian, and in real life you just happen to also be a teacher. So tell me a little bit about that, how you got into teaching.
Well, teaching actually, it's kind of in my blood. I have multiple family members that are in my immediate family are teachers and coaches. And I knew as a little kid that I wanted to be a teacher. And then I got into teaching about 6-7 years ago. But it's something that I enjoy doing. It's not as easy as what a lot of people think it is, but it does take legit a lot of discipline to be able to teach, especially when you're dealing with like 100, you're dealing with their parents, and it's very rewarding at times, but at other times it's very draining. It's the end of the semester pretty much, and so the kids are just going crazy now. So
Gotcha. So did you start out as a teacher first, or did you get into wrestling first?
I actually, it was about the same time. I had always been a fan of professional wrestling, but I never thought to actually do it until about 2012. I got into it because I was watching, I was sitting out having a conversation with my nephew, and he kept talking about these guys. Mind you, I was in college, so I stopped watching wrestling. And so when I was watching with him one day, he was talking about guys like John Cena and Kofi Kingston. And I'm just like, who are these guys? What are you talking about? And so I was sitting there watching with them, and I was like, I wonder if I could do something like this. I always say in every interview that I do, is probably the most random thought that I will ever have. And that's how I got into wrestling. But I did that around 2012 was the first time I ever took a bump, but I didn't actually start training till 2013, and that's when I also started teaching.
Awesome. That's pretty cool how you started both at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until now. I was like, actually 2013. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you started training, you started with under Booker T, is that correct?
I started at another place. I trained there for a few months, and then they closed up, and I knew that I wanted to continue pursuing wrestling because I enjoyed it. It was something different. It was like a rush for me. It was an adrenaline rush for me. And so I was like, okay, I know I want to continue, but where do I want to go? And the three schools that I was looking at was OBW, Team 3D Academy, as well as Booker T School. And then I was like, I want to stay in Texas, so I was like, I'll give that one a shot.
Gotcha. Yeah. How was it like training under Booker T? Because I know a lot of women wrestlers, including my personal favorite Ember Moon. She trained with him too. So, like, was it really tough, the training and all that?
He is very how can I describe him? He's very entertaining. He's so charismatic, for the most part, but then there are those times where if you're not paying attention or doing what he asks you to do, a whole other side. But for the most part, he's very charismatic. He's energetic. He'll, he's easily one of the best that you could ever learn from. The experience that he has, the knowledge that he has, he'll at least tell you something that'll stick with you for the rest of your life, whether it's something wrestling related or not. So I still to this day, I consider Reality of Wrestling my home. So.
Hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. Like that guy is just so influential and motivational. Like I listen to his
Uh-huh.
podcast that he does, and I mean everything just sticks with me. Like everything he says, like this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows how
Yeah.
to relate to everyone that he's talking about. So he's a great guy. Definitely one of my favorites of all time, honestly. So I
Yeah.
definitely think
He's pretty straightforward too. So that he doesn't beat around the bush at all. If you do something and he thinks it sucks, like, he'll be like, what the hell was that? You know what I mean? Like,
that was
so
actually a
I'm
really
not
good
good.
question
I
too.
know a lot of which was one of the fun things that people would do at training, especially when he wasn't around. It was like, who can do the best Booker impression? And I'm not gonna call anybody out, but we had some boys at Row that could do some really good impressions of Book.
Oh my god, I've seen people try to do his like spin-a-rooney and all on YouTube. It does not work out too well.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not even gonna attempt it, especially after taking as many bumps as I have. I'm good.
yeah, it seems kind of dangerous too, a little bit too, if you don't know what you're doing. Next question I got for you. How did you get into women of wrestling?
Well, Santana Garrett, who trained me for a little bit when I moved to Florida, was working with them. She had been with them for I think a few years up until this point in 2018. And she was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Wild Women of Wrestling?" And I was like, very vaguely. And so she was like, "They are looking for some girls." I put in, your name. I tossed your name into the hat, and they're probably going to give you a phone call. And at the time, she was their champion. She was their champion. And I got a phone call like a month and a half later from David McLean. He called me, "Robyn, hey," very excited. And I'm just like, "Who is this?" And he was like, "It's David McLean." He was like, "From Wow Women of Wrestling, how are you doing?" He was like, "I heard great things about you, behind the scenes. You're a good person. That's what we're looking for in our locker room. Would you be interested in joining?" And I was like, "Of course." I heard all these good things about the women behind the scenes, all the other women wrestlers and the people that ran it. And like almost immediately, he was like, "All right, here's your flight information." And I was like, "All right, like, let's do it." So I got into WoW because of Santana Garrett, and I thanked her multiple times for that opportunity.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about David McLean. He seems like a really pretty dope guy in real life.
He is. He goes to, I don't know how many people know this, but David McLean, he will go to bat for you when you feel like there's nobody else going to bat for you, he will go to bat for you. He's gone to bat for so many of us in that locker room that we actually cried because he talked about it at a meeting, and it was a handful of us that were crying like, "Wow, you really you care that much about us when it seemed like nobody else was really giving us a chance, and you just put everything into us." And so he is very passionate about this company. He's a very passionate person, and he will go to bat for you, which is like one of the coolest things, because I feel like you don't it's hard to find people like that in this business.
Yeah, it definitely is from all the like horror stories I've heard, and kind of like at a job, like any normal job, like when your
Uh-huh.
boss like stands up for you and has that respect for you as like a worker, you tend to have
Uh-huh.
respect for them and like working for them. So it's good seeing that in the wrestling business, because I know like WWE, for example, like I've heard so many horror stories about just how the talent gets treated, and even like and some of the indie promotions too. I've heard how like a lot of the owners lowballed their talent with the pay and all that kind of stuff. Like it is nice hearing good things about that, and like that makes me as a fan want to watch and support the product even more, because I know that the people behind the scenes actually like really care about the talent and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
he's big on diversity. That's why when you look at the roster as a whole, you see so many. You don't see the the same girl. You see a lot of tall girls, short girls, girls that are athletic build, girls that are tiny, girls that got some meat on them. You know what I mean? You just see a lot of diversity. You see black girls, white girls, Asian girls. That's why I love the WoW women's locker room, is because there's so much diversity.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed, and I actually discussed with the Beast when I had her on my show last month. Like, you see a little bit of everything in women of wrestling, and I love it. And just not just with the size and all that kind of stuff too. It's just like you see the different characters too. Like, you don't see just plain wrestlers. Like, in women of wrestling, it gives me like a good like old school kind of vibe with a lot of the characters and gimmicks. Like your character, for example, the Disciplinarian, like that reminds me of like back from my childhood, the late '90s, just like that character. Like you don't really see stuff like that anymore, and I really love it. And like me personally, like I'm a big fan of wrestling in general. Like I watch it all. I don't just watch any one product, and I am hot for NXT, but when you all had the season finale last month, I was actually watching that more than NXT. Like that's just
Thank you.
the product. Yeah, like that was such a good show, and I was running back and forth between rooms, but typically I was in the living room watching your show.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem at all. And next question, your character, the Disciplinarian. I'm assuming that you came up with that character.
No, the disciplinarian is actually it's an original character from 2000. There was a woman that played the disciplinarian. She had the same paddle. So the paddle that you see me walk out with is the same paddle that she had when she walked out with it. And so the first taping that I did in October 2018, they handed it to me. They were like, you take care of this because, it's an original piece. They were like, it's from the very first Disciplinarian. And I was like, excuse my language. I was like, holy shit. Like, really? Like, wow, I was honored. I was like, y'all are having me play like this fan favorite character. Like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, no pressure. But it was an honor to be able to know that they put that character in my hands. And it's just cool. Every time I walk out with it, like people want to touch it, like they're trying to touch it. So I'll kind of tease them. I'll stick it out to them and take it back. Like, I don't think so. But it's really cool.
Yeah, it fits you so well because like you mentioned earlier in the video that you actually teach in real life. So do you think that influenced them to give you that character, or they just just somehow just felt like that was you?
Yes, they if I remember right, they said that, was it David, Selena? It was one of them that they said that they didn't even know I was an actual teacher. So I guess someone suggested that I become that character. And then it was actually, I think I forgot who told me. I don't know. There's so many people, and then they're telling me all these different things. From what I understand, Tessa Blanchard is the one that was like, hey, if she's a disciplinarian, I think you guys should put her with Samantha Smart. And I was like, pretty freaking cool. I was like, I was like, I like that. I was like, it's a cool idea because I love working with Samantha Smart. She's brilliant.
Yeah, she's a really nice person too. I interviewed her as well, and I think you two just have so much chemistry together. Like it just fits so well and feels so organically. Like it doesn't feel forced or anything like that. I mean,
yeah,
it just sucks when she accidentally smacks you with the ruler, and
yeah, we had a discussion about that behind the scenes, and yeah, we're good now. We're good. We're good.
Okay, cool.
That was you saw the reaction after I got whacked, right? I just crumbled.
Oh wow. So last question I have for you. So what are your goals for the future of your wrestling career?
Well, at some point I'm gonna wrap it up. In all complete honesty, like some people, they can wrestle till they're like 40, 50, all that stuff. No, as far as wrestling goes, I would like to finish out strong, finish out my in-ring career strong, and then move to either a managerial position or behind the scenes. Like, I love coming up. I'm a big story person, which is why I love WoW so much, because it's about stories. And whenever I was training at Booker's, that's how he is. He's a story guy. He was like, he was like, you can do moves, cool. He said, I would rather you come up with 3 spots that are nice and polished than come up with 10 spots and you botch all of them. And so I got that from him. I have that mindset because of Booker and taking my time and storytelling. And so when my in-ring career is done, I would like to either do something like become a manager or do something on commentary. I've been doing some commentary for a promotion, Ladies Night Out, for Title Match Wrestling, or Title Match Network, I'm sorry, telling and stories. I feel like there's a story for everyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you would fit very well in a manager role, honestly. I think it just fits you very well. And I can definitely see you doing commentary too. You definitely seem to be very well spoken and very
Yeah, I love talking. I always ask, can I cut a promo? Can I please cut a promo? Like, I'm feeling it right now. So I'm very comfortable with talking. So
yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think that would be pretty cool to see you do that. I think that wraps everything up. Yeah, so thank you so much, Robyn, for joining the show. It was definitely a pleasure having you on here.
thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your support. I not only do I appreciate it, but I'm sure all the WoW roster appreciate it as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I really like something and appreciate a product, I'm going to put it out there because I want everyone else to, watch it too, because I need people to talk to, about it and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I definitely, put you all out there on social media all the time. And I definitely try to support and do as much as I can for you all. So do you have your social media that you want to plug before we end things up?
Yes, I'd love to. Facebook, Robyn Reid, ROBYN REID. Same with Twitter. I have so many accounts, but Twitter and Facebook, Robyn Reid. I have a WoW Disciplinarian Twitter. I have a WoW Disciplinarian Instagram, and then I also have another Instagram. So it's like I'm trying to keep up like 5 different things. So I have the Instagram that you can also catch me on is THEE.black.diamond.
Gotcha. You all hear that? Make sure you follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, you make sure you do the same for us. Follow us at Facebook and Twitter at OFace Wrestling. Thank you all for tuning in. You all have a great day, and as well as you too, Robyn.
Thank you.